Hi, and very good afternoon. It's Dean from Avstar. Guys, we're just going to talk light-heartedly on a few subjects to do with, the global economy. And the reason I'm going to do that is because right now you're on YouTube. And by the way, if you hear the cat snoring in the background, just bear with me with it. I can't stop her because she's killed herself up in a little ball, and she's one of these cats. Well, she's a Scottish fold and they've got flat faces, so they have breathing problems. So apologies for that. But yeah, the global economy is slowing down. And, I was warning about this easily 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe even longer. But we're here now, and we're starting to see the repercussions of that. And the reason why I mention YouTube is because there's a lot of people that have actually made a good living up until recent times, doing their podcasts on YouTube, and things are slowing down. And it's not that they are being shadow banned all the time. It's not always the case. It's just the fact that people don't have the money, to spend on luxury items like supporting others. And in a lot of cases, from my findings out, there's a lot of people that do YouTube that have lost at least 2/3 of their revenue that they raise. And that's certainly the case in my perspective. And I saw this happening before October 2023. So I knew what was coming, and obviously that's why I started to divert where my income comes from, because it was becoming totally unable to even support one person, the money that we raised for the observatory. And that's a shame. And I just want to say this, I've put up with a lot of criticism a lot of the times. Now I just ignore it. I don't rise to it, and I don't even bother blocking them or even deleting the comment. Just let them carry on. I know the truth, and they've accused me of, it's not a proper observatory because you do the work from home. Of course I do the work from home, because we don't raise enough money to have a property dedicated to the magnetic pole reversal or the Mavstar Observatory. So I used my own home, and I found the best places to put the equipment where it was magnetically clean, so there wouldn't be no interference with anything. And that's why we did it from home. But when you mention observatory, people automatically think of this little spot on a hillside with a big telescope coming out of it. That's what they envision. But you know what? We could have had premises had we raised the money for those premises, but we just didn't. And we could have had more people working here at the observatory on different projects, but there simply weren't enough money to even pay for one person's salary. And then, obviously, we lost what we was raising in 2023, 2/3 of it. So, and this is why people are saying, we're being shadow banned and we're being hassled by the algorithms, and for the algorithms' sake, will you click the like and click the subscribe, and and then now I'm hearing people to join groups, or what is it, become a member for £10 a month, £15 a month. Well, I don't think that's going to work out too well for a lot of these people, because in any case they ain't even worth 50p. Let's face it. What the way they earn their revenue is in two ways. They offer things like survival cards once a month if you support them, and they've got shops which they direct you to, and they say they're making a little bit on there for themselves, and that keeps the information coming. But the information that they get is only regurgitated either off mainstream organisations or mainstream news. I'm not surprised that people won't give them any money. Us, on the other hand, at the Mavstar Observatory, generate our own data with our own bespoke equipment, and we have built our own equipment, and we offer that service for anyone that wants to be part of it. And is the other thing as well, we have never designated an amount of money. We've just said, if you can afford to chip in what you can, do it. Don't break your back doing it though. But nevertheless, even $1 or $2 is too much for a lot of people now. And, I'm not going to bash them for it. I understand. But this is a global problem, and it's not related to one country. The whole of Europe is suffering. And a lot of us want to think ourselves lucky that we're not in Germany at the moment, because they're really having it hard. When Merkel was in power, she shut down all of the nuclear power plants, and of course the energy skyrocketed. Well, it's what I've been saying for years. If you make energy unaffordable, watch how fast your companies in your country collapses, because it was only when energy was affordable that it was, a good market to set up a business in that country. Now there's a realisation of this, like Donald Trump wants to bring all those jobs back from China, and in doing so he's going to put double the tariffs. But I'll tell you what that's going to do. It's going to hurt us even more, because if Donald Trump puts 100% tariff, increased tariff on the products that come from China, that means you've got to buy from America only if you're an American. And that means American usually tend to be paid, a better salary than those in China. So if you're buying American, you're buying dearer. You might be buying also a better quality, but you might not be able to afford the better quality. And the Chinese cheaper version might have been the option, but now it's not going to be. So when it comes down to raising tariffs, here's the deal. It's just going to increase how much things cost us, the general people. And there's going to be tariff wars. I can see that. There is a few things that I can see coming out of this. There are going to be, I believe, 30 hostages released by the 19th of this month. And, there is ceasefire, which Qatar and the United States and other countries, Egypt, have managed to establish. And that's a really good thing. And only for the case that it will probably prevent more people dying at the rate of which they have in recent times. And I am happy for that. Like I've always said, you don't resolve your issues by firing missiles, bombs and bullets. You resolve your issues by sitting down and talking it out and reaching a resolution. So for that purpose, we're going to see a ceasefire with Israel. Hopefully the Houthis will follow suit and respect the ceasefire, and that will calm things down in the Middle East. And in return there will also be hostages returned back to their loved ones, which is more than anything else the most important thing. And a lot of us are very lucky that we haven't had to put up with what those hostages have, and we're also at the same time lucky for not seeing and witnessing the atrocities in Gaza, because I don't take any sides over this. I want peace on both sides, or on all sides, and I want us to find a way all to work together, because there is one home. I heard this said on a video I watched today. This is our home, and there is one home only, and it's called Earth. Regardless of the oceans that separate some of the countries, there is only one home, and we all live on it. And it's like in your household, we all have to get on, because if there's always confrontation, there's always going to be problems and hostilities, and things can lead to even more than that. So for that reason, with the announcement of the ceasefire and this new ceasefire agreement being put in place, let's just hope that all sides respect it, as a lot of people have spent many months resolving this and making it acceptable on all sides. But we are going to see a lot more of this. We've also got a success, I believe, coming. It hasn't been announced yet, but I believe we've also got a success coming in the respect of CO2 being put to bed. I'm already hearing from certain countries that, they are not or cannot afford to carry on, imposing extra taxes on its citizens for, and their companies in their countries, because all that happens is that, the companies shut down and reopen in another country, they just relocate, where to a country that doesn't really care about CO2. And, that being the reason for greenhouse gases. So I think we've got a coming success in the future in that. And I know these are the topics that, we all see on the mainstream media and news, and also the social media platforms that we all look at. But we have to also agree that not only are we in great economic crises around the world, we are also in a time where the climate is changing, and that is important. And you cannot just put that to bed overnight, because that is something that's not in our control. Because I know there's some people are going to say, the activists out there that want to end CO2 permanently because they believe their lives and their children's lives is going to be terminated as a result of these gases that we're putting into the atmosphere or doing at some point. Regardless of that, there is nothing we can do about the forces of nature other than observe them and record them, and then when next time they occur, we have an idea as to what will happen during those times. Now, the problem is with the magnetic reversal, even on the excursion time scale, that was 12,000 years ago. But the last time it completed a reversal, which would have really hit the magnetosphere hard and weakened it, would have been 780,000 years ago. So, unlike a lot of other channels out there, we actually generate our data with the equipment using the scientific method. We're not regurgitating what we see and hear on the websites around the world and mainstream media and mainstream organisations. We actually do provide a service which is bespoke and unique, something that nobody else, to my knowledge, offers. And I am very grateful for our patrons, and I'm very grateful for those people that have helped us. Even at the rate that they are now, I am still very grateful for that. But I have had to secure an income from another source now, and that was because I just you just see the pattern, and it just continues to go in one direction. And I know that a lot of people out there that have seen the same thing happening in their lives, where they get paid, but there's no mileage in it like there used to be, that wage, because of the inflation. Well, I think inflation is going to continue to carry on in that trend, and people are able, if they are able to make those cuts, they're going to have to. Just briefly on the Los Angeles, California fires, I was watching Mel Gibson, and I couldn't agree with him anymore. I do find it very suspicious that in the times where the winds were high, that there were fires created, and there apparently was people arrested for lighting these fires. But that, he said, he had no proof of. It was just speculation, hearsay, and it is very suspicious when two of the three components come together and create an effect that you would expect them to. It's only the third that's missing, that's not available, which is actually the announcement on mainstream media. Yes, we have arrested so and so for lighting fires. We have the evidence and we caught it. Maybe they're not saying that they're not doing this because maybe it might affect the court case in prosecuting that person. But the thing is, there are people sleeping in tents, and my heart goes out to them tonight. People that have lost their entire livelihoods. And I have said this before, if you had a few preparations, a Bugout Bag, that would have been the first thing you'd have snatched on your way out the door, and at least you would have had that, which maybe wouldn't have been a lot, but it would have been something, and you would have been immediately 20-30 times better off than somebody without it. Now, people are not paying attention to people like me when we say, how important that Bugout Bag is. And you can kiss yourself up with a bag and everything for, I don't know, $200? I could do it for $200. Easy. That's including the cost of the backpack and the things in there that you'd need. and that would give you clean water, a shelter, and the ability to light a fire, and maybe, you know, a little bit of emergency food. I'm telling you now, people walked out of their house with nothing and lost everything. It is the only, with the Bugout Bag, and there's a lot of people that can, you know, inform you on what to put in the Bugout Bag better than me, but it's my insurance policy. I've got one, you know, and I don't live in a fire risk area, or at least I hope not, touch wood. And you know, it's my insurance that I paid once for, and then I keep that until the time I need it. So there it is. You know, people just don't listen. They don't think they need it. It's like the woman I was watching during the floods in Europe. She woke up, you know, with the torrential rains and floods roaring down a road, and it washed her entire house away. And of course, just like the firewood, she lost all her belongings. So, you know, don't be putting your head in the sand and ignoring all these things while they're going on, because, you know, doing that only leads to, you know, a situation where you can't take care of yourself. And then, you know, good luck to you if you're relying on the government for help. Good luck to you if you had your insurance policy protecting your house. Let's hope and pray that they pay out. But, you know, with what I see, the way the world going in these big organisations, they will avoid it. They will find a reason to avoid it for a lot of these people, and they will literally be wiped out. And this climate is not the climate to be restarting from scratch. That's all I'm going to say, because the jobs are fewer because of the technology has replaced the jobs. The jobs have been sent abroad because the labour is cheaper abroad. And it just shows you how much damage these rich people have caused to their own economy. And here's the thing, here's the bottom line. If you ain't got people working in your country, watch your GDP decline, and then your borrowing increase, because your services, the government services around the world, aren't getting any cheaper. You know, they like a pay rise themselves, the ones that work for the governments, you know, with the civil servant jobs. They love the pay rises, and they expect them every year, and they cry like babies if they don't get them. But, you know, it's a different story for anybody else. And the people in these positions are not doing the job. They are not, you know, working on behalf of the public. A civil servant's job is working for the general public. Well, they have been taking the P, you know, in recent years, and now it's getting to a crescendo. And I just want to remind you something. You know, if you look at your history, the Egyptian Empire, the Roman Empire collapsed for the exact same reasons. So now there is a bit of a panic going on. They seem to think that the tariffs are going to rescue everything, but it's only going to make the general public of these countries more poorer, as we've seen in Austria, Germany and other European countries, including England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, you know, as well as other large countries around the world. So, you know, if you can get a couple of things out of this video, you know, be careful about these other YouTubers that have got their own shops that doubly charge. I've looked at their shops, I've seen how much they charge and how much tariffs they put on their side of it. It's usually double, if not triple. And if you look on other companies like Amazon and eBay for those things that you want to put in your Bugout Bag, those preparations, you'll find that they're half price. I'm not kidding you. And I've got very little sympathy for them, you know, because what they do, they go around the internet looking for the latest stories. They go blah 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 on there. Here's a link to my shop. That's all they're doing it for. Have I ever asked people to subscribe to my channel, to your knowledge? And have I ever asked anybody, you know, to thumb the video up? No, because I know me. If I think something's good, I'll subscribe to it. If I like something I see on there, I will thumb it up. But if someone's asking me to do it, it's like I get annoyed when, you know, waiters, you know, say, you know, you can give us a tip after you've had your meal in the restaurant. You know, it's like they're confirming you're going to give them a tip, when that should be only on the principle as if you want to or not. I don't like it being demanded. And when you join the memberships, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? So, I'm not a hypocrite if you think about it and what I've mentioned in this video, but I will mention the link down there in the description. It's entirely up to you. It isn't mandatory, so it's entirely up to you, but I hope you do realise the service that we provide as opposed to the service that the other people provide. And the only other thing I can say to you guys is, God be with you and your family, and it is largely your responsibility to watch out for them, and so therefore you should. And I hope that you never find yourself in such dire times as those poor residents in California and Los Angeles that are have lost at this very point everything. So with that, guys, I'll say what I usually do. As always, bye for now.